So in our last video, we spoke about basic economic concepts like the four factors of production, which were land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Today, we're going to continue to talk about opportunity costs and connect it to the production's possibilities frontier. In our last video, we had the example of a student with only 5 hours of free time in a day who needs to spend it on either studying, video games, or hanging out with friends. Because opportunity costs exist, he cannot spend all of his time doing all of those things to the amount that he would like to do them. So for now, let's get rid of one of these options. We'll say video games. So now he can either study or hang out with friends. Now let's say that he wants to spend all of his time studying, maybe because he has a really big test coming up. Because of that, his opportunity cost is now 5 hours of hanging out with friends. On the flip side, he could spend all of that time hanging out with his friends, and his opportunity cost would then be 5 hours of studying. We're going to move on from this example now and move towards something that you might see in an AP Micro class. So let's say we have one country, country A. Country A produces only two things, drums and roses. In this chart here, we can see visually the opportunity cost of this country to produce either drums or roses. So at one extreme end, we have production of only 100 roses and 0 drums, and at the other end, production of 100 drums but 0 roses. Going up and down the chart, you can see how much of each product that you might be giving up in order to produce 10 more of the other product. So, and each row is just a combination of each possible production possibility. So we have like a 50-50 split of drums and roses here. And then as we go down, we produce more drums at the expense of less roses. So opportunity cost would be, you figure out opportunity costs by centering on one item, maybe the drums. So let's take a random combination, maybe the 50-50 split. So when you're producing 50 drums, you can only produce 50 roses then at maximum production. But because of that, you would be giving up producing 50 more drums. And then at 60-40, you'd be giving up producing 40 drums. On the flip side, if you care more about the roses, then producing 40 roses means you give up 60 roses because you can only produce 60 drums in that scenario. So this is the actual production's possibilities frontier or curve or whatever you want to call it. So if country A falls along this line drawn, they are producing at maximum production. So we can see the numbers that were shown earlier on this graph. So this is if country A produced 100 roses, they can produce no drums. And then same thing here, if they produce 100 drums, then they can produce no roses. In the next video, we're going to talk more about the production's possibilities frontier, how it moves around, existing on different points on this frontier, and existing below the line drawn.